Theodore Robert Bundy, you are charged. Indictment, 2 counts burglary, 2 counts murder in the first degree, 3 counts attempted murder in the first degree.
I think most humans have in them the capacity to commit murder. They choose not to, not because they are morally superior as they so commonly claim, but because they are imprisoned in a web of responsibilities, commitments, beliefs, and sentiments.
Richard.
And that would render murder an absurd gamble or ridiculous self-destruction.
Welcome back to That Crime of the Month. It does feel like it's been a long time since we did this, but it was only a month ago. This year has been
we
going.
did last month. It's just it's been a crazy month.
It's been weird. It's been super weird. Like, it feels like there's been so much going on that it couldn't possibly only be like, not even 2 months into the year or like 5 weeks into Trump taking back the presidency.
And
but
I feel like that we did miss an opportunity to do a some sort of like prolific black killer or something, since it is Black History Month. But this is one of those situations where I think everybody that ever since we started been doing this, and shout out thanks to all 27, 28 of you now watching cross platforms. I'm pretty sure everybody knew this case would come up at some point, because we like to cover recent cases instead of the things that everyone's heard. Ted Bundy, everyone's heard, what's his name?
John Wayne Gacy.
That's literally the one I was thinking. But this is, while we normally cover recent cases, this one will probably go down in history the same way those did, for just how insane it is. And before we get into how insane it is, Badger.
Angry Badger with gifting 5 Moxie Day memberships. Thank you.
Bastard.
Hi! I'm Barnacle Badger, and I'm going to be your Badger Burger waiter for this evening. Okay, here are some menus. Okay, I'm going to be right back to Badger for your order.
Then apparently I am the big French gay. I take so much offense to being called French.
No, that's the trans flag.
No. The first one is just a white flag, which is the surrender flag, which is inherently French.
Do you have forced dark mode on your browser?
Oh, I do. Is that what it shows? A white flag.
It inverts. And French are vertical anyway. It's okay. You've been unwell. I actually was like, it's okay if you need to cancel because you've been going through it. Losing the voice a little bit of the.
No, I was not gonna miss out on this one. Mainly because, and I've told you this before. Hey, shout out watching on X. Thank you so much, Joseph. I knew Gypsy Rose IRL, so this is like a very near case to me. So
Near and dear, yeah. There's another case that I've been mentioning that we need to do at some point, but it's a little too like personal because we do have a very irreverent way of talking about these cases. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that one. Zach says I don't think Gypsy is even related to Axel.
The Hollywood sex
therapist.
Sex therapist one. Man, yeah. I've been waiting to do that. When you told me about it so much, I really want to do it. But by the same token, I've been waiting for you to pull the trigger since it's really near to you. So.
No, I'm like envisioning like the jokes that you'll make, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Well, if this is a friend of yours, I'll take it easy. I'm not a monster.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. People are filing in, finding their seats, getting their snacks, popcorn, all the things. But today we are talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard and the case of the unaliving of her mother, Dee Dee, who seemed like a garbage person. There are elements of, this isn't going to be monetized anyway, child abuse, Munchausen by proxy, all the things. And Hornstar, member for 1 month. Hail, Moxie and Leon with the emojis. Hello. So let's jump into it, shall we? I think it's a case most people have heard of, especially since she was released in January of 2024, and since then has been on numerous shows. She was on The View. She's been interviewed by all of the outlets. She has her own series. You don't know the story. Ooh, interesting. I kind of just presume everyone knows this.
Yeah, it's the same here.
And yes, for those wondering, I am not in a jumpsuit, but orange is the new black, so I'm going with it.
Happy Black History Month, everybody.
It's an homage. Oh, Lordy. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Do you say Blanchard or Blanchard? Blanchard.
I've always said Blanchard.
Same. Okay. So Gypsy Rose she's still alive, is a woman, young woman now, and it's her Naruto look, yes. Who was
Although I disagree with this, but I'm sure we'll get into why when we get into the actual events of the case, because there is very much a reason that he is still in prison for life without parole, if I recall, and she is out. And there is a difference in their crimes.
Okay. So we're going to go through the timeline, and then we have like other things to add to it as we go through. There's a lot of information on this case out there. Lots of true crime YouTubers that have their own versions of the story, and I watch every single one of them because, as with most true crime and YouTubers, there are little tidbits that aren't necessarily included in the other. So we may bounce around between a couple of sources for this, but this one gives a well-rounded. But what is a woman?
Well, again, you've got a
what that means
semi-local source literally as a co-host, which is going to make it even more wild and interesting. Let me tell you, this was the talk of the town for a while back in the day.
So this is our dear friend, suspect, convicted felon.
This is a great photo. This is the nicest she's ever looked. She has hair in this. When I knew her, she was so abused by her mother. She was emaciated, bald, and didn't have teeth. I actually thought she was years upon years older than she was. Yeah, this is exactly how she looked when I knew her. I thought, so whenever I heard that the story was she killed her mom, I did not know between the two which was the mother and daughter. She looked so old. I thought that gal in red, Dee Dee, the mom, killed her bedridden mother. That's how their ruse was, even locally.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know the story, this is just a little preview because we've seen her in the jumpsuit. Flashback to when Gypsy Rose was going on tours as this victim of a slew of ailments at the behest of her mother. And she was,
by the way, Gypsy Rose as a name is Gypsy Rose Lee was accredited as the first true female, first true stripper, going from the art of burlesque into being an actual stripper in Americana history. So it's kind of interesting that your mother would name you after the first stripper. Like I don't know if she actually named her after that. I tried to find sources as to whether or not that was true, and I couldn't find anything to confirm it. But I mean, how common is a name like Gypsy Rose? So that should have been an indication out the gate that her mom had some problems.
Yeah, Mama had a lot of problems. Cameraman has palsy or something.
Look, pause it when her mouth is open. Yeah, go back a little bit. Like she is missing. You can see even in this rough, grainy camera footage, the teeth she's missing. It is heartbreaking that this is not a case of like all this was 100% avoidable. But because of Munchausen's by proxy, it I mean, it damaged this girl in an irreparable way from such a young age that I'm gonna be real. As much as I'm usually an asshole, I got a soft spot for this case just because this is child abuse at its finest.
It's so messed up. Yeah. So she's a free woman now. She was released in December 20. Yeah, she was, apparently. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. A free woman following her early release from prison, December 28th, 2023. In 2016, it
Stan
doesn't
Lee's
feel like it
birthday.
was that. Oh,
So just fun
fun
fact, she
fact.
got out of prison the same day that Stan Lee would have turned like I think 100.
The more you know. So in 2016, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison after she pleaded guilty to murder for her role in the killing of her mother, Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard. She was a victim of Munchausen by proxy, a form of abuse in which a guardian may seek attention or sympathy by making their child ill or exaggerating their illness. The Dee Dee controlled, this says many aspects of her life, but I would say every aspect of her life, having her undergo years of intense medical treatments that she never even needed. She made headlines after her arrest and trial, and the case has been documented through various projects. There's an HBO documentary, Mommy Dead and Dearest, the Hulu series, The Act. Did you see The Act?
I haven't actually watched any of the documentaries or anything like that because it's local. We all know. I feel like there's nothing that could have been gleaned from a documentary that we all didn't already know / find out literally as it was happening moment by moment. So I've actually never watched anything on this case just because it was so close to home.
I I actually like The Act. We'll talk about The Act, the Hulu series, the miniseries that they had. They got some things right, some things wrong. But we'll go through that. So she was born in 1991, but as we learn, she didn't actually know how old she was.
Correct.
So when you knew her, roundabout circa what year might that have been?
So I met her on and off. First of all, the circumstances of me knowing her, the where I used to live, there was a local comic book and sci-fi convention every year. And it was ran by somebody with cancer, and so they always made a point to gift invites, like VIP invites to other people in our community suffering from massive medical conditions. And Gypsy Rose got an invite every year. So from roughly 2014 to like maybe 2017, give or take around that, because I went every year. She always got the invite. She was there every year. And
So she,
yeah,
she
I would
pleaded
just see her
guilty in
there.
2016, so you had
Oh,
to have
okay. So
known
maybe
her.
okay. So 2016 to 2012 to 2015. Then my bad.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Just trying to get our timelines.
Yeah. No, I've been going
Yeah.
to this con every year since I was 6 years old. So yeah, it's gonna get rough to remember. It's literally a
Okay.
yearly event for me. But yeah, so she was probably showing up and me actually knowing who she was because she was always like a guest of honor sort of thing. They would get the ultimate VIP packages, the whole nine. So yeah, probably 2012 to 2014 or 15 ish, and it was. I mean, again, everyone knew who she was. Her mother would push her around the convention, like push her wheelchair around the convention. We'd all, drinks together, go to the auctions together, look at the vendors room and the panels. And like, it's one of those, like, it's a small enough community where everybody knows everybody, but also since she was a guest of honor, people were always there. And like, they did this thing called blue chips where everyone would go and like give all the disabled individuals a blue chip and tell them how like strong they were for being able to overcome, whether it be their cancer or whatever Gypsy was going through or stuff like that. And we thought community wise it was a great, beautiful community outreach moment of like, hey, look at these nerds and their less than fortunate circumstances and getting the chance to effectively be normal and whatnot. And turned out to not be the case, but literally no one was the wiser. Nobody knew. So yeah, I wasn't friends with her or anything, but I was on a first name basis with her for half a decade ish.
Yeah, she was really into the nerd stuff, the Disney stuff, the um, more. I don't want to be critical because I don't mean it critically, but like more into the childlike types of entertainment sources. Part of that being that she didn't even know how old she was. Her mom told her she was younger. She presented very young. People thought she was 14 years old when she was actually 20, 21. Like she
Dude, I thought she was older than me. And when I say older, I thought she was in her 40s when I was in my early 20s. Is how fucked up she looked. She didn't have the wrinkles or anything, but dude, she looked so terrible. I said, there's no way this is a young person.
But at the same time, looking at the videos now, the way that she would have that like little mousy voice and like that little snippet of her singing, "Hello, Leonard, long time no see." Yeah, to me, and maybe it's because you saw her in person. She was a little bit older than you, but she was in just such a bad way or a bad
Not
state
just
that
she's only 2 years. Like our birthdays are different by 2 days. She's only 2 years. Just under 3 years older than me. You would never have known that looking at us side by side. I look like a fucking high schooler compared to her. Could have been my teacher. Was the way it looked. Like that was the difference of seeing her IRL. It was insane.
But yeah, she didn't know how old she was. Her mother kept that from her. So her dad and mother had split very early on.
Talk about dodging a bullet.
Yeah. But in 1991, the same year that she was born, Mother Dearest had her checked for sleep apnea at 3 months old. So she started taking her to the hospital like super early on, found nothing wrong with her, but she was convinced that she was super ill, telling her dad at the time that she believed that their daughter had a chromosomal defect and her health issues stem from that. Like
they're in Louisiana, right? That's where they're from is Louisiana. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember.
Where. Well, they relocated after the hurricane. So
right. I'm wondering. Basically, I'm wondering because I knew they relocated to where I was living at the time after the hurricane. I didn't know if that's where she was born or if they moved there at some point in the interim. But either way, I think they were in, if I recall, Louisiana prior to Katrina. Which Katrina was what 2003, 5.
August 2005. Their home was destroyed in Hurricane Katrina. So, home left in ruins. They went to a rescue shelter and claimed that all of her medical records, including her birth certificate, were destroyed in the hurricane, paving the way for Dee Dee to continue the lie, falsify her medical records and her medical history to future doctors that she would introduce her to, describe symptoms that she didn't actually have, so that she was getting medication to treat the symptoms that she didn't actually have. So I believe
a lot of these symptoms were real in that it was psychosomatic. Like her being in the wheelchair, for example, she didn't know she could walk.
That's the psychological abuse component.
Right. What I'm saying, technically the symptom is real in your mind, so it does present itself, even if it's not physically there. And that's the most, in my opinion, fucked up part about this is that her mother effectively placeboed her into having these symptoms that wouldn't have manifested naturally. It was all, it's a crazy case of matter over mind, I guess. I don't know how you would put it, but.
So after Katrina, they relocated. Habitat for Humanity had a home built for them.
Shout out Habitat. That's where I got this thing right behind me. This nice big fucking thing with all my statues. Habitat for Humanity, fucking great. Mad shout out.
And this was the house. They made it with the ramp so she could, get in it easily with her wheelchair. It was pink. I remember it looking a little brighter than this, but maybe that's just false memory. But yeah, this article talks about what happened to the house. Gypsy still owned it, even after going into prison. But anyway, back to the timeline. So Mommy Dearest and Gypsy Rose were praised everywhere they went. Backstage passes, special event, VIP, everything, everywhere. And there she is. Yeah, so she was reported to be
Look at
like
that photo. Tell me that
old.
she doesn't look older than her own mother here.
I mean, she does, but she doesn't to me. Like, she looks made to look older, but the way that she presented made her seem like a young child when she was actually a young adult.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Golden Girls. The one that played Blanche's mother was actually the youngest of the four, like IRL, but in real life but in the show they've got her all done up, so she's able to play the oldest. That's the way is the best I think to describe it. It's she always had this just. I wish I had a better way to describe it. It's just such a mind-boggling thing. Like nothing about her, like visually, was the way she talked to it. I completely agree, was childish, but nothing visually was childish about her. You're muted.
No, I'm not.
There you are. No, okay, now you are. So there was no audio.
NVIDIA broadcast was not picking up my impression of Gypsy. Pitch and tone, I don't know. So then suddenly, oh no, June 9th, 2015, Mommy Dearest is murdered. Horrifically. The crime scene photos are available should you be interested. Link is not in the description. So Gypsy had been apparently leading a double life because she was a young woman, and at some point there may have been a type of switch flipped where she was playing along, but then she wanted her own independence, and so she turned to the internet. She snuck going onto, forums and websites and connected with a young man.
I could be. This is my assessment of the situation. I don't think the switch had fully flipped so much so as she. I think the actual flipping of the switch came from the conversations she had on the internet. Prior to this, she wanted just independence, something outside of her mother, and the internet was an escape. At this point, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, still did believe in all of the medical stuff that was happening to her, believed that she was broken, that she still needed to be in a wheelchair, take all these medications, this, that, and the other. And the switch flipping didn't happen until she actually found other people on the internet, and they got her to start of kind of break out of this shell of what her mother had taught her whole life. Because I mean, think about
she's lying to you. You are not that.
Right?
You're this.
Exactly. What's the fucking think of the Water Boy. Literally, I know that's a comedy movie, but the way that she raised him, he didn't know about Ben Franklin, and discover this stuff. Like, imagine that in real life to an abusive degree, and that's what she was going through.
The brainwashing effect.
Yes,
but so. Something that they showed in the series, the act, she would hide in the bathroom. Obviously, she could walk. She would hide in the bathroom with this laptop that her mom didn't know she had access to, and she was going on websites, talking to people. Met Nicholas Gojon. She's got something going on with her, but it's not all what was.
A chromosome disorder is not the same as being told you can't walk and you've got to have your head shaved for XYZ purposes, and why your teeth are rotting out and things to that effect. I mean,
he had cancer, like what was it? It was leukemia. There were several other diagnoses that he had told the new physicians that she had, so they just automatically treated her.
A calcium disorder or something.
Oh, yeah, she was allergic to sugar. She all kinds of stuff.
I mean, that's base. All parents out there pretend your kids are allergic to sugar.
I think they also did surgery and removed portions of her gut to where she had to have a colostomy bag, even though she didn't.
I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me if that was the case.
There were surgeries and treatments that she went through that she did not need. So this also incorporates malpractice among physicians, that there was so much going wrong with this. Yeah. So she's sneaking around, going on the internet, meets a guy on a dating website. This gentleman, Nicholas Gojon, who is a main character in this case, extremely on the spectrum, but as we find out, it does not qualify as diminished capacity as far as excusing anything that he did. And something that they had portrayed in the show versus the reality. So they had this whole BDSM fantasy thing going on in their conversations. And know where she got all of these wigs. Maybe it was part of the cosplaying angle. But she was sending really racy things to him, and he was like talking about how he was the beast and he was gonna like it got a little spicy.
It gets, but by the same token, it's
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, no, it also wasn't anything. Because if I recall, you heard me if I'm wrong, by this point, her age is, even if she was wrong about her age, was of age. So there's no like.
Yeah, so she knew within about 2 to 3 years, which would obviously put her over the legal
Right.
age. Yeah, so it got a little spicy, and those things are available on the internet should you want to find them. I did not kink shame anybody. I said not that there's anything wrong with that. But so then it became, I'd do anything for you. I wouldn't want anyone to hurt you. I'd literally do anything for you. And she's like, anything, and protect me from anyone, even my mom. And he's like, hell yeah. And then it kind of spiraled from there. Carolina Reapers. Yes. Carolina Reaper. Spicy. Peter Piper picked a pet. Anyway. So he was in a different state. I don't remember which state he was in, but he traveled to Missouri to meet up with her. But before the actual unaliving had happened, they met up at a movie theater to see, was it Cinderella?
Give me a sec. I'm actually curious. Hold on a sec.
I think it was Cinderella. And it's not, as far as I know, it's not totally confirmed, but they met at the theater. Her mom thought he was weird because, yeah, he's weird. Some rando adult man going to see Cinderella by himself. And she's like dressed up as Cinderella to go see the movie. But it's not confirmed, but it is suspected that they did the do in the bathroom.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm looking at the, I'm trying to find out because there were 2 big theaters in that town, or 3 big theaters in that town. Then there's an indie movie theater, but unfortunately, the article I'm looking at currently doesn't name the theater.
Okay, you continue to look that up. I will take a brief intermission. Be right back.
Yeah, because I'm curious if it's my usual theater. Give me one moment here. The 2015 Cinderella movie had sex in the bathroom. It just says a movie theater. Damn. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a movie buff, so I go to all the theaters in town, but I've got one that's specifically my favorite. And I'm curious if this would have been the one at the time. Let's see. It's just F3, search right here. Theater. Nope, this one doesn't tell either. Man, what up with all these articles not saying what theater Gypsy Rose went to do the nasty? Ain't that fucking wrong? Like, come on now. Okay, let's try this. Let's refine my search a bit. All right, now F3, search theater. Nope, this one doesn't have it. The truth behind Gypsy Rose blended Cinderella.
Have you tried asking Grok?
Oh, that's a good.
Grok
that's
is my go-to these days.
Yeah, you're right. I should ask Grok because. All right, well, we'll do that real quick.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's a lot missing from this People article. I mean, it's a 30,000 foot overview. We'll get the point, but there's a lot of details. So many.
All right, Grok is loading the answer now.
Ooh.
Though the theater is not widely documented in available sources, Gypsy Wayne, Big Ben. Wait. Gypsy arranged for Guns and Travelers home. Yeah, in Wisconsin. Gypsy Disney Cinderella screening. Springfield Blanchard resided moving to the area. Yeah, even Grok doesn't say. It just says it was not. Well, either way, there ain't a lot of options. There's only 4 theaters in town, and one of them's an indie theater. And I imagine they weren't going to see no indie movie if it was Cinderella. So I have an idea of which theater it was because there's one that far outclasses all the rest. If they were in the male bathroom, I'm just saying There's a lot of room in there. It's a very nice, honestly, very well cleaned bathroom, which ain't normally the case for male bathrooms. So,
Oh my.
yeah, got nice hard tile floors, always clean, always smells good. Yeah,
Have you had many romps in the theater bathroom?
I've never had a romp in the theater bathroom, but I may have had romps in that theater that I may or may not speak about.
Anywho,
My homie used to not own, but manage the theater, and so I had unlimited access no matter what time
you'd
of
hang a
day.
sock on the door and he would get the signal, like,
Bro, it could be 2 or 3 in the morning, and he'd be like, "Yo, you want to catch a film? The theater's closed. I got full access." I saw Baby Driver in theaters 4 times. 3 of those times was just me and a couple buddies. Theater to ourselves at like 3 a.m. Just saying, some things may happen in that theater.
They must have used it to disabled persons. Very roomy.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
anyway, continue.
Okay,
I was just curious. It might not be that theater. I'm just guessing.
So in between the time they started talking on the internet, they did the meetup, and they got their wiggles out, and it just really it drove it home that he would do anything and take out anyone who would hurt her. You and your brother.
No. We would wrestle like a good bro. My bro would just set the shit up. Like the way that I used to run a brothel, man. Back when I was just out of high school, because I was a year older than my buddies. I had a spare room that was like a spare basement in the townhouse I was renting. And since I dropped out of high school early, all my friends were still in high school, and they would need a place to have sex. Their parents would find out, so I would charge my friends to use the spare fucking basement that from the townhouse I was renting to have sex with their girlfriends.
And how much would you make on these videos that you obviously were making of these
I wasn't recording
children?
Shit. I wasn't recording. I was just saying I got like a cool $200 a session. Make sure my friends all had jobs and shit. Like it was a good side hustle.
Big pimp. God.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. Leon was a pimp. It was again not pimp. I ran a brothel as well. I like to put it. But yeah,
you were the host.
Yes.
I don't know what's better. Okay. Anyway, so say they met, they hooked up, and really emboldened him to do anything. And she played her part. It's a little sus, Leon. Not gonna lie. So on June 9th, the main event, he traveled to Missouri. I believe he rode a Greyhound down there.
Yes.
He brought at least one knife with him. Yes.
I thought there were. I don't know how many he brought with him. There are multiple knives in the crime though, but I don't know how many were his versus what were around the house. So
they came up with a plan for him to basically be a home invader. Oh, and thank you to all 116 of you across platforms for watching, do all the YouTube likey things. Thank you. So he was supposed to be a home invader who came in, unalived mom, and then she would disappear, so it would look like a murder kidnapping of this vulnerable child in the opinion of those around. Is that the perception of the locals at the time? Is what happened?
If it was blown out of the water that wasn't the truth so quickly that mentality never spread, because like within 48 hours everyone knew the truth because of her skipping town and such.
Right. She disappeared. Her chair was left there.
Yes. And
it wasn't very long that before they were found at his home. Do you recall what had happened as far as the murder weapon and the circumstances between the big ship?
Before I answer that, let's go ahead and let's find this
ship could go on for hours.
Yeah. Is it it's alphabetical order. There we go. There's no the. Okay.
Good gravy. What a ship.
What a lovely big ship this is.
It's a big ship.
Oh, my ship is beautiful, isn't it?
This ship must just go on for hours.
Lovely ship. Lovely ship. It's a big ship.
There we go. So
thank you, big ship.
To answer your question, that was not actually one of the major talks of the town. Was the murder weapons. Like obviously we knew it was knives. Talking about how the Facebook post, I'll slit the bitch's throat, shit like that. But the reason it was such a massive scandal and whatnot wasn't even because of the murder. It's because this is the first time that this community, for nearly a decade at this point, if not a little over a decade, knew that this girl was more mobile than we thought she was. Like her capacity for movement and her mental wherewithal to plan something like this, even if it wasn't just her playing, it was a dual effort, was well beyond anything any of us thought was within her ability. And so the majority of the talk was like, I cannot believe that for all these years we thought that this person was what they were, and it turns out they're not. And
Was
again,
it the perception of the locals that she was just faking it at the time when it came out?
No,
Like,
it was almost from Jump Street. And it is a lot of this is because almost immediately the chat logs were leaked. Almost immediately from a local standpoint, we were like, oh, this has been a scheme of the mother for years upon years that none of us knew about. So like locally, Dee Dee was vilified far more than Gypsy out the gate.
I mean, when I first heard of this case, I immediately was like, ew, the mom. That
Yeah.
obvious abuse, and had enough, snapped, and things happen. But okay.
I don't know. I don't know how it stands now, but when it first went down, Jonathan, whatever his name was, the boyfriend was also like vilified.
Nicholas.
He didn't get the level of vitriol that Dee Dee did, but he also was basically almost everybody locally clamored that she was a victim, and these two were both criminals, but on different levels. He was a murderer and she was a child abuser. And she, like, her innocent, she wasn't really innocent, but her the
she
people
was
that
damaged, though.
Right, the people that would go to bat for her, myself included, mind you, was insane compared to the other two.
Yeah, if you had been abused for most of your life, if not all of your life, and you finally found it in you to be able to do something about it, I think a lot of people could understand that being fed up and doing something super extreme to get out of that hellscape, right? So
especially if you feel like you have
understand
no other recourse because this is the only person that has been providing for you your entire life. And I mean, because again, the father's out of the picture. So,
and that wasn't necessarily his fault. There have been multiple interviews.
how much that was also probably the mother.
Yeah, vilifying the dad, and her not being made to feel like she could go to him and talk to him about what was actually happening at home. The mental manipulation was insane.
See, Big Ship, I disagree with this assessment though. I don't think she's a sociopath. At least, okay, and you're kind of the expert on this one, not me, Mox. So you can clarify. Sociopaths are born sociopaths. I think that Gypsy is just so damaged that she doesn't have a functioning brain to be able to understand much of human emotion, communication, the whole nine, because so much of what she thought it was that her life was a lie. I don't know if that'd be sociopathy per se.
Yeah, sociopathy. I think
I knew it was sociopathy, and I was like, no, I'm wrong, and then I changed it. God damn it.
I think a lot of that is just you're born that way. But as far as like the mental conditioning, I think you can be made,
okay,
sociopath.
Fair enough. Again, that's why I asked, because I could be wrong on this one. So,
yeah, it's a disease of the brain because of what had happened to it. Yeah, psychopaths are born. Sorry, that
okay. It. All right. Thank you for the clarification.
So he traveled to Springfield to meet her in person on June 10th while she was asleep. Gypsy let him in, provided him with a knife, gloves, and duct tape. She hid in the bathroom, covering her ears, and he
provided him with a knife. So he may have come with his own knife, but that's why I thought several of the knives used were like literal, they're kitchen knives and shit.
Timeline versus other sources for the details. So she provided the knife.
I remember the reports locally being that they literally used the kitchen knives, like the butcher knife in the house and stuff like that. So
then after the murder, I believe they got back on a Greyhound bus and they stayed at a hotel, and they filmed themselves. Like there's video of them post murder. She seems totally normal. They're giddy, they're laughing, they're talking about it, and they wanted to expedite the story that they had, started. And
Yeah,
so
there's the they statement, and I could be wrong about this, and maybe again it's just because I am biased in the situation. I think it was him, not they.
No,
No?
it was Gypsy who had admitted posting on her and Dee Dee's shared Facebook account, "That bitch is dead," followed by a second post implying Dee Dee had been attacked to ensure that the body was found quickly.
Okay,
The official
fair enough.
story. Let's see. So on the 15th, neighbors, alarmed by the post, alerted the police. Dee Dee's body was discovered, and police traced the post to Wisconsin, where Gypsy and Gojon were arrested at his home. Do you know what they did with the stupid knife? Like the main murder weapon? He mailed it to his home. USPS mailed it to his home.
When you said what they did, I was hoping it'd be like, oh, and then once they got back home, they decided to clean it off and then make themselves some fried chicken. Like I was expecting something a lot more like
No, it's way more
comical
stupid
than just,
that.
oh yeah, it went through USPS.
An idiot.
Well, so
Yeah,
the haircut is that's like her mother kept her hair shaved because she had cancer.
right. She had to keep
Like,
the illusion.
I don't know why homie looks like the way he does. Like that's a homo ass haircut. But in her instance, that wasn't even a fucking choice.
Yeah, just throw back to when they moved to the Ozarks from Louisiana from this news clip.
It's Mayberry. It's Mayberry. We're moving to Mayberry.
It didn't take a lot to convince Dee Dee and her daughter Gypsy Rose to make a new home in Aurora. They already knew it was meant to be.
It is the perfect town.
Aurora is one town over from where I grew up.
I think it was a blessing in disguise. It took something like a hurricane to make us have a happy ending.
Dee Dee was happy enough just having medical care for Gypsy. She says she never expected this.
It's amazing. It's amazing, the outpouring of love and support.
Dr. Janet Jordan met Dee Dee and Gypsy while on a mission trip to the hurricane-ravaged areas. She says she knew right away she'd see them again.
They're like lost souls who were meant to have been born and raised in Aurora.
After arranging a helicopter ride from Louisiana to St. John's Hospital, the process began to find them a permanent home. It turns out St. John's already owned this house, and with the help of local donations, it was turned into a home.
What is it now?
It's now Mercy. It's now a Mercy hospital, and for those of you that ever visit Aurora, they got one of the last few standing drive-ins, and go there every summer. Fucking love it. Sunset Drive-In, baby.
Been to a drive-in before.
You've never been to a drive-in, dude? Okay, so it is $8.50 a person. So you go with a truck of 4 or 5 people. You got yourself a mattress in the back, the whole 9. But it's a double feature. So like,
okay,
you pay $8.50 a person, which is already cheaper than most regular theaters, and you get dose movies, baby. It is awesome. I highly recommend everybody go. I don't know how all drivers operate, but like the one that was local to me.
drive-ins around anymore?
I don't know how many there are, but I've been going to this one my whole life. I saw Spider-Man Homecoming in the drive-in. I saw Civil War in the drive-in, Blades of Glory, Ghost Rider, Anger Management, Zoolander. All these movies I saw at the drive-in.
I think that's just kind of what we're all about. You know, we're all about doing what we can to help people that are in a bad situation.
It's beautiful. And it's...
Yeah, so she's like 19, 20 years old here. And everyone thought she was like 14, 15 years old. She didn't even know. It's crazy. And she was losing her teeth because of all the medication she was on and the lack of nutrients that she wasn't getting.
Probably a lack of vitamin C, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
God damn it, son.
Was that Hondo?
It was Hondo right in my ear.
No, like a squeaky toy. He's trying to blow out your other ear.
Anyway, we were saying.
It's happy. And it's full of love.
Gypsy and Dee Dee say they're blessed. Dr. Jordan says they deserve to be.
It was pretty devastating down there. It really was. And they never, ever lost hope. I think they brought hope to everybody else that was down there.
This is home to us. We have been wondering for so long, and this is finally our
It is so sickening, the manipulation for, like, just not brainwashing her kid, but manipulating people, good-hearted people in these communities, extorting
Well,
money out of foundations that provided for them, Habitat for Humanity to build a home for them.
Well, and they, I don't know if you've got them in the doc. I didn't check to see if you have it, but if not, I've got the home pulled up on Google. We can talk about the one from Springfield, not Aurora. So I can show you what. Oh no, you showed a picture of it earlier. Never mind, so we good. But yeah, it's again. There's so much of this is. I mean, I don't blame her. When you've grown up in a in a cycle of. All right, so there was this episode of Joe Rogan with this gal that escaped North Korea. And she had this quote, and I'll never fucking forgive this quote. She said, "If you are truly oppressed, you don't know you're being oppressed." And she was, of course, talking about her experience with the North Korean regime. She thought this is how the world worked overall, things like that. And I attribute that to at least the majority of Gypsy Rose's life, is that there at some point you get to this point where you feel like that's your only recourse. So in my opinion, I don't want to say a murder is justified, but some murders are justified. And I mean, pretty hard pressed to think of one outside of like things I don't want to talk about that could happen to children or whatever than a situation like this.
Oh no,
and
those are situations where people unalive themselves by getting stabbed in the back 40 times, and the local law enforcement calling it a suicide.
Yeah, no, bingo, bango, bongo. And so yeah, at the end of the day, so much of her mother's status in the community was driven on, like, we talk nowadays about how nobody knows their neighbors anymore, and we all live these online lives and things like that. But for years upon years, the community came together and did anything and everything they could for this single mom and her disabled daughter, only for it all to be a fucking lie. Like that, it's something out of a book or a movie or whatnot, but it's not. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bingo, Mr. Techrat, exactly, and a bingo and a bongo, bingo and a bongo. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely understand it. There were some other
That's what I like to hear, Lucy.
There are some other elements to Mr. Gojohn's enthusiasm when enacting the unaliving.
See, that's why I thought it was mostly him posting on Facebook. And again, maybe it's my memory and or my bias portraying me.
Nah, she took part in the Facebook post, but she also has commented on him saying that he was going to grape her mom after he murdered her. There were levels, you know? And he definitely was above and beyond in a lot of weirdness. Also, extremely on the spectrum, not an excuse, but also not diminished capacity to take accountability for what he did. So she pled guilty. And then obviously the defense for her sentencing leaned heavy into the Munchausen by proxy angle and the abuse that she suffered and all the things. And so she was sentenced to, I would say, only 10 years in prison. I think, did she serve 8? Yeah, because she was out in at the end of
2023, right? The end of 2023 is when she got out?
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't know about you. I think that is a completely reasonable sentence considering... I've seen cases. Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
She didn't actually do the killing. She didn't. I mean, she enabled the killing.
Well, not only that, but this is a
freedom, and
I've seen instances. So I grew up in a town called Mount Vernon, which is one town over from Missouri, right, or from Aurora, where they were. This individual raped a somewhere between 6 and 9-year-old girl. The father of the girl, because again, this is a small country town, like 3,000 people. Father of the girl hopped in his pickup truck, drove to dude's house, Kurt Cobain the motherfucker, just shotgun to the face. He got 10 years crime of passion. In my book, fucking worth it.
Makes sense. Also, I'm surprised if her sentence was 10 years that she served 8, because in California, if you serve like 50%, I mean that's
Here it's usually about 70 to 80%.
okay. So it checks out. Okay, so there's been many documentaries, Mommy Dead and Dearest, and really exposed the abuse that she endured. Lots of interviews, her family, fully justified. Yeah, I don't feel bad for Dee Dee.
No, not in the slightest.
At the end of the day,
I don't know if
feel
he was
bad for
talking
Dee Dee.
about the story that I was telling or this one, but either way, I feel like both are fully justified.
Don't feel bad for her. So she testified against him, and let's see, what other sources do I have here? She pled guilty. The plea was influenced by evidence of her prolonged abuse, reducing her charge from first degree, which carried a life sentence,
Down
to
to
10
third,
years.
right?
The minimum for second degree murder in Missouri.
Second, okay.
Yeah. Case should have been dismissed. Gypsy was incarcerated. What's the name? How do you pronounce this? Chillicothe?
Oh yeah. Chillicothe is correct. Yep.
Chillicothe. Okay. Correctional Center in Missouri, where she described feeling freer than under her mother's control despite being behind bars. His trial began in November of 2018 in Springfield. She testified against him, admitting that she convinced him to kill her mother to escape the abuse, though she expressed regret. His defense argued he was manipulated by Gypsy, citing his autism and low IQ, and claimed he acted out of love, believing that he was rescuing her. Prosecutors countered that his motive.
Sorry, is it load of bullshit? I mean, I'm sure that like dudes will do crazy shit for love, including kill a fucking mother that frankly in my opinion deserves to die. But to make your court case hinge upon this emotionally, mentally, and physically abused girl who didn't even know her own age and saying that she had the capacity to manipulate him into murder, that is fucked up, scummy defense attorney bullshit at its finest, in my opinion.
Yeah, so the prosecutors countered that his motives included sex and a desire to be with her, supported by evidence of premeditation. And I think it's not cited in either of these, but from the tellings and the interviews that I've seen, he had the more graphic details of the planning of how it was going to happen, what he's going to do. She was more of the facilitator, but also if you facilitate a first degree murder, you typically get charged the same as if you committed it. But because of her abuse, they brought it down to second degree and gave her the minimum. So I think that it makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, I'm divided on whether or not I think she should do time, because like at the end of the day, it is vigilante justice, which is a crime. By the same token, how broken is your brain after a decade plus of this? Like so there's a comic book art called Carnage Axis. It's a Marvel story, and Carnage is a he's literally mentally broke. He's a mentally broken character. He doesn't quite understand how the world works. His brain doesn't work properly, and a bank robbery goes on. And the way he stops the bank robbery is by burning the bank down. Like, okay, that's it stopped the robbery. Like objectively,
one way to do it.
Robbery. But you also just burned the fucking bank down, which is a crime. So I get that's a comic book story, but I kind of equate it to something similar in this, and that okay, yes, a murder occurred, but you've got to kind of look at the psyche of the individual and what led them to that point. I mean, there's a reason she didn't go to the police or family services or whatever about this. It's because, at least in my opinion, she didn't have the cognitive function to do so.
I would say that like she had more of a diminished capacity based on the abuse that she endured. Yeah, she wasn't operating as a normal, well-adjusted person that would make normal decisions, reasonable decisions. So ultimately, he was found guilty of first degree. And and sentenced to life in prison without parole, and plus an additional 25 years for. Okay, so this always bothers me. So you commit a crime, yes, and then they go, well, you used this tool. Let's say you used a computer. It's an enhancement. Let's say you unalive somebody, and then they have an enhancement of it was with a firearm, so extra time. You unalive somebody, and it was with a crossbow, extra time. It's like, so legally, it's better to strangle someone than it is to use a tool to do it, because they're all enhancements. I don't know if I agree with that. You already unalive somebody. That should be the crime.
Correct. And since this case has happened, because this was in what, 2016 or something, in I think 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, we became a constitutional carry state. So I get this was a knife, not a gun, but my point is clearly the standard for weapons and whatnot changed. And I wonder if that change, like if this happened now, would have affected how this goes down in terms of what you're saying, like, an enhancement, because I don't know the answer is why I'm bringing it up, but it's just interesting that afterwards the weapons law changes, and yeah.
Federally or stateside?
Stateside.
So in this particular case, he got an additional 25 years for armed criminal action to be served concurrently. So there's some bureaucratic, legal, admin work stuff that goes into it, right? When they go, there's an enhancement, we're adding 25 years, but really it's going to be served concurrently. So it's really just kind of like, I don't know, is it performative? Is it just like a...
Well, also, I don't know, because since he's a Wisconsin resident, I don't know how much does I'm asking because I don't know the law or the rule in this case. How much does Wisconsin stuff have to play in a trial that's happening in a different state?
It wouldn't have anything. So he was extradited. He was arrested in Wisconsin, brought back.
Okay, but
the crime
brought back
was
to Missouri.
committed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, Goodwin says that it's written by anti-gun sentiment, but I mean, again, we had deep red state. Only blue county in Missouri is in motherfucking like St. Louis. I don't know, maybe Kansas City. The point is, they probably only 2 blue counties in the entire state, so there ain't a lot of anti-gun sentiment here. But no, it's, I don't know if it's performative or if it's so much so as at the time.
Is it to appease? Is it to appease the victim's family and those impacted? Is it something to say we're going extra, but also it's concurrent, so it's not like
this was such a, because we don't really have shit like this here all that often. There's 2 major cases in probably the last 20 years and in this part of Missouri. And it was Haley Owens, which I'm sure you remember. If not, that would be a very interesting one for us to do on the show. And then there was this. And so if you're talking about 20 years of a relatively big city, about 200,000, 230,000 people, give or take, and only having 2 like major instances of true crime, I wonder how much of it is like just for news, for headlines, to show that, throw the book at them, things like that,
Okay. Yeah, I need to freshen up on that one. So okay,
Haley Owens is a heartbreaking one. That's
yeah, from what I just read, yeah, that's not a fun one. A person is abused. Once out of that abuse, is susceptible to somebody else abusing them. If it happens, what if she kills the next person?
I mean, the type of abuse that this was, excuse me, she became cognizant of. The reason that abuse is cyclical, to my knowledge, people correct me if I'm wrong, is because most people don't even recognize as abuse. They think of it as normal. What makes the Gypsy Rose case interesting is that she, through the power of the internet, found out that this actually wasn't normal. And that's what led to this crime happening in the first place. Now,
but we're missing the child abuse component from the time that she was an infant, that this was imposed on her. It's not a typical, I've been in an abusive relationship and I'm going to make the same mistakes and whatever. This is conditioning of literally an infant into being totally fucked up. Like, this is a very unique case, and there's no apples to apples as far as like abuse cases when you're talking about Gypsy Rose, in my opinion.
No, I agree completely.
Alrighty, so he was guilty first degree, 25 years on top of life, concurrent. She was granted parole in September of 2023 after serving 85% of her 10-year sentence, including pretrial detention. She was released on December 28th.
Okay, so that didn't include time served. I was curious. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So post-release, she became a pop culture figure, amassing millions of followers on social media, TikTok, all the things. Life After Lockup, she has her own show. And season 2 is coming out on March 10th. There's been, The Act, what we've mentioned, was the Hulu series. Let me see. I have some of that. The casting for it, I felt, was really on target. We don't need to listen to it because it's an AI voice, but yeah, this is 2019. Wow. That's
So
really quick
actually,
for a miniseries to
this
come
is an
out
interesting
after.
comment. I want to get your thoughts on this before I give mine, because again, I do have a bias in this instance.
I think it depends on the priorities of the facility and the state that push these things. She obviously did get treatment. They all have access to psychiatric treatment. But from what we've seen of her since she's been released, she seems pretty, I wouldn't say well-adjusted. That's a stretch. But she
As
seems
well
okay.
adjusted as she probably could be.
Sure. So I hope so. What are your thoughts?
I think that she did get the best help she could have gotten, but frankly, even in 10 years or 8 years of being in a facility, that's not, this is literally the sort of thing that's going to require a lifetime of rehabilitation. And to be fair, maybe she's still getting that. Maybe she'll still see the therapist. I don't know. But yeah, I think that there's no, I think she got what was best, and I think that her getting out after 8 years was probably justified. But I do really hope she is still seeking additional help, because I maybe it's projection, but that's I think that's a lifelong sort of adjustment.
Yeah, and while she was in prison, she gave interviews, and a lot more came out of what she actually went through than was originally known. This one, it's a lifetime. They're going to strike me.
I really didn't understand why my mother was moving us from place to place, or why at certain times we didn't have a place to live. But it really kind of showed me that all I really had in my life was my mother.
Funny you say this, Rick Costa. Now I don't know about, I could be wrong about this, but was only one institution in the greater metropolitan area of Springfield, Missouri. In fact, my mother was institutionalized there when I was about 6th grade. And in somewhere between 2012 and 2014, it ran out of government funding and got shut down. So while she probably it may have honestly been better for her to have been institutionalized, there was not a local one within the relative jurisdiction to actually send her to, because it ran out of government funding and had been shut down. But again, I don't know. There could have been other answers. I could be wrong.
And we won't watch this whole thing. I just think there's a little bit at the beginning that is interesting. Yeah.
Finally free to build relationships and friendships. The best memory that I have in my entire life is the day that I got to prison and I got to go out to the picnic tables. And I'm like, I'm free. I'm free to have friends. I'm free to do what I want. I might be in a controlled environment, but this is nice.
You're making me cry.
It's the truth. It's such a good memory.
There's this perception of her that, let's say, because she was so conditioned, she was conditioned to be a phony, that the way that she presents herself now is not genuine, that she is just a manipulator and a liar. You have thoughts on
I don't think she's a manipulator or a liar, but I do think there's a sense of disingenuousness there. That said, I don't blame her for it. She went from being abused all the way up until the murder, going to jail, prison, getting out, and immediately being in showbiz, which is also fake and phony, just like what her mother did to her, which is why I said that I don't think 8 years of therapy in prison and whatnot is enough to overcome this. So she effectively has gone from, in my opinion, one fake environment to another. I don't think that's healthy. I actually think that these documentaries and these additional shows and whatnot that she's a part of are just not as egregious a form of abuse, but still an abuse of a broken psyche. It's exploitation at minimum, and I would honestly still say this is abuse. Just again, not to the same level. I don't think that even though she's out of prison,
the pattern that she has, or the way that she had existed for a long time, it makes her susceptible to appeasing the people that are handling her. It was her mom. Now it's the media. Now it's she. I don't think she's quite right.
I'm with Zach's on this one. While she is probably inherently fucked up, I don't think she's a danger to the public. Again, I don't know. This is a really weird one, just because we've heard stories maybe like Corey Haim or whatever, or how many child actors in Hollywood go through XYZ. And for this gal that effectively had the mind of a child for so long to shut the fuck up, Atreus, you fucking I'm not going to say on Moxie stream. For this gal that didn't even know her own age to go to prison and now be around cameras at all point in times and have TV shows made about her life and whatnot. It's just it is another sort of abuse, in my opinion. And Atreus, $10. You want to do the honors before I go ahead and play the clip?
Nope.
Just a reminder, chat. Don't matter how many white people you see me around, I'm still just a nigga.
Oh my god! But she did manage to find love while she was incarcerated a couple of times.
I was going to say a few times.
So her relationship with Gojon, 2012 to 2015. So it wasn't like a really quick thing that had happened with her meeting him. There was time, apparently. So 2012 to 2015, her relationship with Gojon ended after their arrest. Imagine that. He remained infatuated with her, calling her his soulmate in a 2019 interview. But she since moved on, especially after her later a couple.
Then you got COVID and died, case closed. No, I'm joking. Go on.
So she had a pen pal, Ken Urker, from 2018 to 2019. Then they broke up, rekindled in 2024, but that didn't end up working out. They did get engaged, did not obviously get married. Then there was Ryan Scott Anderson. She got married to him in 2022, and that dissolved in 2024.
2022, yeah, she had the rekindling in 2024. It's all strange. Anyway,
a little bit of crossover. But when she got out, she was still married to Ryan Scott Anderson, who was a 37-year-old teacher. And they got married.
By the way, let's just talk about him for a moment, because dude's a teacher. And he's marrying somebody that has been so psychologically abused, they might have the mindset, at least a similar mindset to a child, and this guy's teaching her kids. Like, that's actually one of the weirder parts of the story to me that I've always found very strange. I think you hadn't considered this, by the way you're thinking now.
Well, no, it makes sense. It makes sense because he does kind of look like Jared from Subway. Just saying.
Oh
no. So,
Psycho, you don't get mobbed. Yeah, no, fuck. Zach's will sleep when he's good goddamn ready. He's an adult. Let the
he's an adult.
Manada from Manitoba make his own life choices.
So she and oh no, he does look like Jared from Subway. So she married Ryan in prison, and post-release, he was part of the Life After Lockup show. There was lots of reality TV surrounding
I
their
haven't seen any
relationship.
of the documentaries. That's not true because I actually have seen a little bit of Life After Lockup, and maybe this is all Hollywood and camera tricks, but they made it seem like a functional, happy family, at least for the little bit I saw.
They did until they separated like a couple months later after she got out of prison, and she announced their separation on social media, and she filed in April. She got out at the end of December. She filed divorce in April after 2 years of being married while she was incarcerated. And then in July, she announced her pregnancy with a new man. She was 11 weeks pregnant with Ken Urker's child, and she released a YouTube video called "I'm Pregnant in My Journey So Far." She really leaned into the limelight and like keeping herself a public figure, or the very last thing she needs is celebrity or fame.
I agree with this entirely. Like I said, I've been making this whole case that I think that she's being that exploiting her like this is another form of abuse. That being said, I also can't pretend I don't kind of get it in terms of there's clearly money to be made here. You've got to provide for yourself, for your upcoming family, the whole nine. And like, is it healthy? No. Do I get it? Yes. So it's a very strange situation.
She's come under fire though since she's had the baby, and I say that in air quotes because the netizens of the world have criticized her heavily this entire time, but especially since post-release and all of the garbage TV watchers. I've only seen clips of the show. I haven't actually watched it.
Life After Lockup, same.
Yeah, I don't watch that show, but the TLC watchers, Discovery Plus watchers,
But you'll watch The Bachelorette. 90 Day Fiance.
90 Day Fiance for me, but Life After Lockup, I have not gotten into. But there's been a lot of speculation about either the paternity of the baby, because there was maybe some overlap between, husbando one and Mr. Urker. Also, I sent this video to you. You didn't get a chance to watch it. But even her family members are like, yeah, we don't know if she actually had the baby. That's really suspicious that she's like super in the limelight, posting little baby bumps. And then all of a sudden she's not posting anything about the baby and then going, look how I bounced back after 5 days of postpartum. And like, I'm not going to say that it's not true, but it is weird. There is weirdness.
The only counter that I'd have, if I'm trying to be logical, is that because there's additional seasons of the show coming out, I wonder how much was contractually obligated that she's not allowed to say, show, or do because it's going to be used for the show.
Or they know that this controversial stuff is going to happen. It's just going to hype numbers for when it does get released.
Again, I don't know that that's the case. I'm just saying that, like, I could see some sort of skeevy Hollywood producer and whatnot being like, oh, we've got gold here. We have now an ex-convicted murderer who's pregnant, and it might not be the husband's father, like, or the husband's child. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see that being just as exploited as her situation.
So people are also saying that they're not convinced that it's an actual like real baby, and you can buy fake babies online that look just like this. And
maybe people buy fake babies all the time. By fake babies, I mean babies that aren't theirs.
Yeah. Let's see. So this one, it's long. We're not going to watch it all, but just kind of get the vibe of like the current climate, which obviously with the season 2 premiering soon. Yeah, call Maury. It would make sense that they're creating controversy just to hype numbers, for sure.
Because people still seem to think that she was 15 when she killed her mother. She was 23 years old. Because people still seem to think that she was 15 when she killed her mother. She was 23 years old.
Get the out of here.
She was a month away from being 24 years old.
For anyone that might have missed this, Gypsy Rose Blanchard gave birth to her daughter on the 28th of December, exactly a year after she was released from prison. This woman has done more in the space of a year than most people will do in 5 years.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard's family is calling her out.
This person's voice is super annoying. You don't
Yeah,
see
no
them. It's like
kidding.
person
God
person,
damn,
but
Superman.
For lying, and they are not holding back. After her recent claims about giving birth, her family is stepping in to expose what they say are her labor lies. The timeline isn't adding up, and people are questioning everything. This is a mess, and we've got to talk about it. And so, without further ado, let's get right. This is a mess.
Pause. Yo, why the fuck you got your avatar's fucking lips where your nose is? What sort of Lovecraftian nightmare fuel is this? I reject it wholeheartedly. If I look, I didn't want to take the side of Gypsy Rose and this whole baby shit and whatnot, but just because you look like this, I now believe this is real. What the fuck, dude? If I bought my kid a brass dollar like this, I swear to Christ, oh, nah, this ain't okay. Not only
you bought a Bratz doll like this for your daughter, you would hope that she would beat you to death with it.
If I did, that would like discard my parenting card. That being said, look at it's not even centered. You got one part of the lips overlapping one eye, not the other. You couldn't just fucking go into Photoshop and like knock it over to the right a few ticks, dude. This is. Nah, if I got sleep paralysis and I woke up in the middle of the night and this was standing over me, I'd just be like, take me now, Lord.
Yes, and we've got to talk about it. And so without further ado, let's get right into it.
Some people might hide from the spotlight, but you're going in a different direction.
Sometimes I kind of feel like I have no choice.
What do you mean by that? Certainly you have choice. You don't have to pose.
It all kicked off when
that sounds consistent.
Yo, why the
with
fuck
her
your mouth
abuse.
in the right place now, bitch? You still bleeding from the eyes, but now I see your mouth just above your chin. What the fuck is going on?
I am not a fan. This video has gotten this account has 2.19 million subs and 100,000 views.
And you sitting here at like almost 2K, and this deformed Barbie got several million. Nah, bro. YouTube.
I'm doing YouTube wrong.
Fucking troglodyte subscribe. How much y'all want to bet that there's with the sheer number of subs it has, there's at least 1 or 2 crossovers between you and this bitch? And like, nah, that's sickening, son.
Thank you again to all 142 of you across platforms still here.
when Gypsy hopped online acting like everything was all normal and sharing what should have been a sweet postpartum moment. But no, the streets were not buying it. Instead of getting those aw, cute reactions, people started side-eyeing the whole situation hard. And can you blame them? For someone who usually has receipts on lock, Gypsy has been real quiet, and that is just not like her. First of all, nobody, and I mean nobody, saw Gypsy at the hospital where she was supposedly admitted. Not a...
Yeah, okay. So we get it. It's annoying. There's a lot more to it than the obnoxiousness, and it goes through a bunch of different things that are being said about her, and maybe she didn't even have a baby, or if she has a baby, then it was by a surrogate. But the whole circumstances around her, the birth of the baby.
I mean, you say about a surrogate. What are the odds? And I'm asking you as a woman because I don't know on account of I don't have the mechanisms in my downstairs regions. All the
your
shit
neo vagina doesn't have the
right
parts for carrying a child.
All the shit that she was subjected to medically that she ought not need to be growing up. What are the odds that she actually can't have kids because she was effectively?
Okay, if that's the case, I don't understand why you would lie about it though. I think that would actually help her
because
case.
At this point she's got a fucking a picture deal, a TV show deal that she's contractually obligated. Again, this isn't me running D4, by the way, because I don't really know her. The gossip about her post-murder life, I don't really care about too terribly much. But I am curious as to what if the inability to have children is another just facet of the abuse that she suffered growing up, and if so, that's just an additional bookmark in the pages of how fucked up her life is.
It makes sense. So yeah, there's a bunch of cattiness, which is in the trash TV sphere. You're gonna get all that. People, they love to hate on everybody, but I mean, that would be a rough thing to put yourself back into, the limelight after everything, knowing that a lot of people portray you as the villain, even though, yeah, you did a very, very horrible thing participating in that, but also you had reasons. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense with the emotional damage of her upbringing that she doesn't have a sense of normalcy and how to navigate the world. Makes sense, fine. But so to close it out on the act, I think it is, I appreciated the show after consuming a lot of different versions of how the case went down. The casting of it, I think, was really good. Joey King, very pretty girl. They did a good job making her look similar.
They did a good job uglifying her, is what you're saying.
I didn't say that.
That's not word for word.
Patricia Arquette as Dee Dee. That was a good one. Yeah.
I don't know who the actor is, but yeah, that's a pretty good cast.
And Lacey was her friend, real life friend there. Margot Martindale. I liked her. She's been in a lot of different shows that I've enjoyed. Dexter being one of them. Sneaky Pete. Cliff Chamberlain is the dad.
Not to be confused with Echo Chamberlain.
She's ugly. But this one, we're not going to watch it. We're just going to go through the things they got right and wrong, just for, because it's easy to watch these retellings and go, this is a documentary. This is exactly what happened. But they do take liberties, and they get some things wrong. They get some things right. So I just usually try to watch things as far as like reenactments with a grain of salt.
Shockingly, many things in this disturbing show were actually true. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things the act got factually right and wrong. For this list, we're looking at what was fact and what was fiction in this 2019 series. Number 10, Gypsy didn't know how old she was. Right.
Was I good?
You were perfect. From the show, we know that Dee Dee...
anecdotally, her mother was very affirming and stuff like that in a few, 5 or 6 times I met her. Like, that's, I don't know if she was like that all the time or was only in public settings or whatnot, but like, she very much was like a doting, loving individual that did, again, all this positive affirmation. So again, yeah, that's
convincing.
That was a good, good representation, at least from the public persona facing sort of thing.
Number 9, Gypsy's voice. Right. In the act, actress Joey King, who plays Gypsy, uses an exaggeratedly high-pitched voice that makes her sound like a little girl rather than a teenager. The voice is...
so that scene was her at a con. So, like what you were talking about.
It was probably a representation of the con where I met her, yeah.
Probably. Weird.
And made many wonder if that's what King sounds like in real life.
But the funny thing is, a few years ago, she had gave me this little glass house. And she said, one day, this will be yours.
Gypsy's father's involvement. Wrong. On the show, we see that Dee Dee and Gypsy are very much alone.
I don't have a dad. It was only ever me and my mom.
Gypsy's father allegedly left the two of them when she was a baby because he wasn't ready for the commitments of marriage and fatherhood. In the final episode, he redeems himself somewhat, but in real life, he made a much bigger effort to be involved in Gypsy's life.
Yeah, but she lied to him and pushed him away and kept him away on purpose. It's so awful.
Number 7, Mel breaking into the house. Wrong.
What's wrong?
After they kill Dee Dee, Gypsy and Nick decide to speed up the process of her body being found by posting shocking comments from her Facebook page. On the show, Lacey sees the posts and informs her mother, who then breaks into the family's house.
You can't just go in there.
Mel, be careful.
In real life, though, it was a man named David Blanchard, who, despite his name was not related to Dee Dee, who also lived nearby, who responded. The dark Facebook posts are very real. And
Yeah, so Gypsy was the one that did the original post. That bitch is dead. And she was talking about, like, yeah, I slashed that fat
Yeah,
pig and rape y'all the pigs.
Maybe this is local lore, and especially if she admitted to it in court, who says she was lying and whatnot. But with the story going around at the time when this was going down, was that he made the post. Now, I was always under the impression that he made it from his personal Facebook account. Maybe folks were saying that he made them from hers, and I'm just misremembering because it's been so many years. And to be fair, maybe it also really was her. But just like the basically the local sentiment was that no, it was not her making these posts. But again,
And if she was the one that physically typed it in, maybe it was at his behest. Sure.
Right, effectively. But again, who's to actually say? So,
Gypsy's teeth falling out. Right.
But what if I just had 1 or 2 sips? Just a little sugar.
Baby, do you know what a severe reaction looks like?
In the first episodes of the show, we see Gypsy's mother telling her that she's allergic to sugar and taking her to the doctor.
I've never thought about this until now, literally watching this. But like, have you ever gone to a convention? Anime, sci-fi, anything like that?
Yeah, I went to Anime Matsuri.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I don't know why I just asked. I knew that. How often are folks fucking eating? Like, that's one of the big draws of convention. Is like you go around, you meet some celebrities.
To the watering hole.
Right, yeah, dude. You go, you meet celebrities, you eat. You check out the vendor room, you go eat. Like that's a whole part of it. And it could just be a case of timing. But again, as someone who went to these conventions, I've been going to the same convention this was a part of every year since I was 6. So for the 5 or 6 years I was seeing Gypsy there, bro, I never once saw her eating. Like, maybe it's just because I wasn't around at the moment. It's a 3-day weekend event. But like, I've actually never seen that chick with anything as simple as a corn dog in her hand.
Okay, so I went to that Anime Matsuri. There were so many men dressed in little like nurse outfits because Sailor Moon outfits. There was another
Sailor
anime
Moon
that they
and
were.
Nurse Joy from Pokemon. Those are both pretty big for men to like crossplay. Yeah. Also, fuck you, Badger. It may be overpriced, but it ain't shitty. That con food, after you've been like in cosplay, sweating your balls off and whatnot for 8-9 hours straight, and you finally get a bite of some calories and some carbohydrates, that shit tastes like goddamn ambrosia. But anyway, continue.
Number 4, Nick being a nice guy. Wrong.
I just want to hold you and touch you and be the man to give you your first ever kiss.
In the act, Nick is a sympathetic character who seems to really care about Gypsy. And although we cannot be sure of his true motives,
it's so awkward. This entire series is so awkward. I used to run those stands. They were shit. Trust me. Oh no.
Badger, your boy still goes to cons. Quit ruining my illusion. What are you, a Motley Crue fan?
Enjoy your $17 burger.
I mean, I didn't pay $17 because I live in the Midwest where prices are reasonable, but even at a con, a burger like $9-10. Like, and we talking like a stadium burger.
motives in real life, there are some serious red flags about the actual Nick Godejohn.
I'm always going to love Gypsy, and she loves me back.
Man, if there was an aesthetic for Tism, also,
yeah, they got it down pat in these clips for sure.
The aliens on a Galaxy Quest. They
I'm going to love her for sure. Give her a first kiss. Sorry, continue.
Also, I'm the father of her future children, probably. And there's nothing that you can do about it.
The Blanchard family
drip.
Drip.
believes that he controlled Gypsy and took advantage of her. Not only that, but in the 2017 documentary about the story, Mommy, Dead and Dearest, it's revealed that Nick wanted to rape Dee Dee before killing her.
Say those words around here. That's some other bitch's channel.
No.
She offered
to be
herself
fair,
up.
maybe he meant he thought he was a SoundCloud. He's made a typo. He wanted to rap about her because killing and rap music, and he thought he'd have a career in the industry. And
up instead, and so he raped her after killing her mother. Number 3, Gypsy falling off a trampoline. Wrong.
I want to jump on the trampoline.
No, maybe.
In the series, we see the origins of Gypsy being in a wheelchair. Dee Dee puts her in one after she has a trampoline accident when she's 6 years old.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That sound effect was funny. Is that what you're laughing at too? It didn't even sound like it was part of the show. It was like when they were recording this part of the video, they just like smushed some sandwich bags or something.
Trampoline accident when she's 6 years old. That's not how.
So she didn't fall off a trampoline.
I actually don't know the reason. So I thought part like, yeah, and again, this is my trying to headcanon because I've never asked or anything. I thought the wheelchair thing actually had to do with the leukemia stuff. Like she was too weak to walk because of the medication stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know why they would have added that. Yeah, I'm wrong. I don't know why they would have added that just for the sake of adding it. I don't know. Good win. Good win. Gooch. Gooch Miss Prime. It is way
Homie
late for you,
fucking
mister.
sends all the chat over here to rate us when the show ended and then doesn't show up to the last 10, 20 minutes. Oh, you
showed up.
son of a bitch. We love you.
2. A doctor was suspicious. Right.
I think she has a hiatal hernia.
What did you say? She had her salivary glands removed?
Considering how
Yeah, she had her salivary glands removed.
long Dee Dee got away with lying about Gypsy's conditions, it's no surprise that doctors started to have questions eventually.
Have you been able to confirm the girl's medical history?
Which part?
Why would I do that?
Well, as somebody who is afraid of doctors and hospitals and the medical system and all that, and frankly almost died because I refused to go to the hospital to get blood clots checked out. What?
Afraid or skeptical?
No, afraid. I have white coat syndrome. I'm a little bitch. When it comes to doctors and hospitals, I'm terrified of them. That said, because I'm sure you remember all of Katrina was a national crisis, and in 2003, the statement, because it's before long-term internet computers, things like that, were like as widespread for what they're used now. If you were to say we lost all the documentation in Katrina, which was, I mean, the National Guard got sent out to that was a state of emergency. I can see why doctors would have just ran with it if they thought it was serious enough. And considering by that point she would have been 11 or 12 years old, even if she thought she was only 8 or 9, if she was
So not COVID. Katrina, 2005. So she would have actual age
Katrina was
14.
2003.
It said 2005.
I said 2005 earlier, and you corrected me and said 2003.
I already lost the
So if
tab.
you're saying 2005, it's actually because I fucked up. No, Katrina was 2003. I said 2005, but you corrected me. I was wrong. So she was born in 91. Katrina was in 2003. So that make her 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
But she thought she was 7, 8, something like that. 9, 10 tops.
I can see like physicians like that would see her.
Saying 05.
It's
Chat's saying
05.
05. Okay. Maybe maybe I flipped them then. I'm sorry. Either way, I said the wrong date earlier and you corrected me. My bad.
So she was 14, and so I think she thought she was 11, 12 at the time. And then for physicians to meet her, understandably catastrophic situation with Katrina, medical records lost. I'm sure lots of that happened to people. And looking at her, it would make sense for them to go, oh, okay, this is what's going on with her. It tracks, sure. But also in this, retelling, you have a physician going, did you check? I'm like, why? Like there could have been stronger safeguards with the follow-up from the medical community.
No, and I agree with that. Basically, what I was stating is that in the early moments of her medical stuff, from let's say 2005 to 2008, I can understand, which is a reason why I'm afraid of doctors, mind you, why they would have fallen for the ruse because of the lack of digital backup and stuff like that. And so, of course, you're going to take the mother of the child
Who's
at her
obviously
word,
caring and attentive and super,
right?
you know, gross.
Any of it.
On the show, Dr. Lakshmi Chandra begins to track down Gypsy's medical history from other sources because she has her suspicions about what Dee Dee's telling her.
I was one who requested
Whoa,
those records. Could you
guy,
just
brown
tell
female
me,
doctor?
just
No.
compare?
Kumar doctor? Is that what you just said?
I said brown female doctor, but we can go with Kumar doctor, sure.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you said Kumar.
Actually, to be fair, because all of her stuff was done through St. John's / Mercy, I ain't even gonna front. Indian doctors are the shit. My granny should have died in like 2004 something right around this time, and a goddamn Indian doctor saved her life, and she lived till 2024. So dude, if I ever go to the hospital and my doctor's brown, I feel like I'm safe. I'm the opposite of DEI and shit when it comes to brown doctors.
And orthopedic surgeons, I would go Asian all the way. Just saying. I worked at a hospital. He was a god.
If Kata ever went to
industry.
medical school, you know, for good God, he'd be a pediatrician or orthopedic. I said pedia because ped is actually Latin for you know what I mean, orthopedic. Point is, Kata would go to doctor school for that flip shit.
He'd be a physical therapist. He wouldn't be a surgeon.
Podiatrist. That's what I was trying to remember. Podiatrist. Thank you. Good.
Oh, the foot doctors.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I've been drinking since 5 p.m.
My goodness.
It's 12:30 at night.
So, yeah, we're at an hour 36, and there's 142 of y'all still here across platforms. Thank you for joining us this evening for that crime of the month. And this was the case of Gypsy Rose. And there's a whole lot more information out there about this case and her experience from childhood through incarceration and phone calls. There's just so much about this. I really wanted to kind of limit it to, because you do have a local perspective on it and a personal interest, but it would be interesting to cover in a different way than everyone else. So, Leon, what do you got going on?
Well, before that, I'm just gonna give my thoughts on like this whole case in general.
Thoughts.
And yeah. Final thoughts, and I'll give my what's going on. And this is the interesting one for me because again, it's one of those where, I mean, I say it's one of those. How the fuck often are you gonna be able to say that you know somebody who was part of something like this, and not only know them, but would do a yearly hangout with them for fucking half decade in a row, and like she was a local celebrity, and to her credit, I don't know about her mother, but she never took any sort of advantage of it. It didn't ever come off as disingenuous. And as far as nerd culture goes, because that's what it was. It was a convention that was all about anime and sci-fi and action movies and just this and she was sort of always in the know. Like she was welcome. She knew her shit about Sailor Moon or knew her shit about Terminator or anything like that. And maybe that's what happens when you're cooped up in a house all alone, is you watch anime and movies and stuff like that over and over because that's all you're able to do. So I mean, from a nerd to nerd authenticity standpoint, like she was the real deal, and everyone loved her, and everyone did feel sorry for her, but there's a difference between like sorry and pity. And to my knowledge, there was never this aura of I might need to make that. There was never an aura of pity between like her and her mom or whatnot. It was always just like, damn, this is a bummer, but at least she's hanging out with all of us and we're all having a good time and stuff to that effect. And so yeah, when this information came out, again, the community just riled together in favor of Gypsy. And I definitely do. if I had my way, if I was on that jury, I could good goddamn for sure say that I would have said not guilty. Maybe that would have been the wrong answer, but you know, knowing what we know about her mother and whatnot, and knowing the emotional bias, I don't know what other recourse she would have had. And not only that, while she killed somebody, I don't think that just killing someone means you're inherently a danger to society. I think there's obviously variables, and yeah, this has been a really interesting one to cover. Probably one of my favorite episodes of this that we've done yet since like the second episode. And every episode we've done of this has been good. So it's been a blast, and I really, really do, and I genuinely mean this as much as I like to make jokes and shit like that. Hope that she gets out of that sort of Hollywood sphere, that sort of thing dries up, because that to me that's only a method of further abuse, and I don't think it could be good for her. But
Yeah, I agree. If she, let's say she has this new baby and wants to have a life and a normal life, she needs to like, yeah, I'm sorry, maybe season 2 be the end, because most of it's, if not all of it's already filmed. Get that bag and step away and focus on real life. But we have been talking about anime conventions, and I haven't played this one in a while. So
Okay, I'm gonna go buy some anime.
if Gooch is even here still. Oh, and there's also
you
a
know,
new
I
clip that I
almost
haven't.
made that joke tonight, Sturgeon, but then I thought, nah.
And just for the road, this is a newer clip. I don't know if I've shared it yet,
Your
but
family. And the thought of you running away on this bus right now is making my gooch pucker.
Sweet.
Righteous
Well done.
Gemstones. Righteous Gemstones.
Well done.
So yeah, thanks everybody. 141 of you all beautiful people. Thanks for the comments. You guys have been popping off. I know we missed some of them here and there, but we were engaged in the conversation about this weird case.
I was trying my best. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, so Leon, thank you for going on this journey with me. And now that final thoughts are done, what do you have going on next? What's up for tomorrow?
Because of something magnanimous happening Monday, I'm going to go up through Monday if that's okay. But tomorrow's Friday. So tomorrow's Inside the Badger Den. So of course we're going to get together. We're going to hang out. Me, you, Gooch, Niat, Badger, the Cabal. We're going to talk some shit on his show. And then after his show ends, his show leads directly into mine, which you were on last week. It was amazing. Tomorrow
Was that just last week?
It was. It's been that crazy, hasn't it, girly?
Wow.
I know,
That feels
right?
like weeks ago.
Nope. However, this coming Friday, we got 8-Bit Eric coming on. So me and 8-Bit Eric gonna do a one-on-one solo sit down. And then on Saturday, we've got Niat show, and then Saturday Night Hypnosis. Maybe Zach's show, not entirely sure. And then Sunday is Late Night with the Gooch. But then Monday, for those of y'all in the chat, if you're still here, if you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, which I know is asking a lot, but in 2003, Dr. Robotnik, Eggman, whatever you call him, got a new voice actor, and he's been the voice actor ever since. He's the voice actor of Eggman to this day, and he is the guest on my Countercast, my flagship panel show. If you're a Sonic fan, young or old, the voice of the main villain of the show, of the games, all of that is coming on for an interview, discussion, the whole 9. So we would love to see you there, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time on Monday. Again, my show at midnight CST on Friday, which I guess technically makes it Saturday, whatever. Point is, you get it. Yes, going to be a fantastic fun show. Can't wait to do it. Mox, I love doing the show with you. Thank you so much. It's truly one of my favorite streams that I do. So I can't wait till next week next month and the month following and so on and so forth.
Yeah, this was so much fun when we first started. I'm like, yeah, let's do this twice a month. And then it's just like, it kind of, everything's stacked. But absolutely do at least that crime of the month once a month. The third Thursday of the month. Weird scheduling, but whatever, it sinks. So for me, I have a pre FNT lawsuit pending tomorrow. And then from there, I'll be on with Nerd Wars and Badger and maybe Gooch at noon Pacific time, and then from there it's the whole Cabal block. It kind of just cascades, and then it's turning Gutanese, and then Inside the Badger Den and Neon Leon. And Saturday we are going to be on with Niat for the review of Akira, which I just watched for the first time yesterday.
Whoa, you watched Akira for the first time?
I thought I had seen it before, but I thought it had been a very long time. However, I had just assimilated like all of this information from pop culture that I thought I saw it.
Okay,
but no,
okay.
actually watched it.
Without getting into anything, we're going to talk about Niat's show. Just did you understand it after one watch?
I feel like I did.
Okay. I
feel like
can't
it did.
wait for Saturday. Also, this is a good question. Are we going to announce this or do we want to wait?
Go for it.
Are we doing what we were talking about backstage?
Sure. Like we're gonna do
All right.
that. You know more about
next-
it than I do. I have to do homework over the next few weeks.
Sounds good. More like next 4 or 5. But yeah. Yes. Next Crime of the Month episode will be the Nixium cult. We our very first time doing a cult episode, but for those of you that know recent true crime, the Nixium cult is kind of a big deal. So we'll be covering that, and it is a wild story that has not just one but multiple perpetrators in heinous acts, and it's gonna be a good time. Hope none of y'all are Smallville fans.
Didn't watch it myself, so I'm ready to.
You're missing out.
dive
Smallville's
into the
amazing.
rabbit
Even
hole.
people that don't like Superman, Smallville's amazing.
But we got a lot going on, and thank you everybody once again. And we're gonna get up on out of here. So I feel like I understood it. I had also seen Paprika before, and I was getting parallels between the
The guy that made Akira has worked with the guy that made Paprika.
Okay, there was some.
They're not made by the same people, but they have worked together on other projects.
Okay. All right. On that note, guys, good night. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.